I believe that everyone is creative and that our creativity is medicine, and not just for ourselves. It's our hope and our connection for a better world for all of us. I'm Ashley Riley, and this is Made of Dreams. Welcome back to another episode of Made of Dreams. I'm your host, Ashley Riley, and I'm having so much fun with this new season and these weekly themes of relating to creativity. It's really allowing me to take a look at the actual beliefs that I hold around each topic and untangle the stories that I've kind of just regurgitated my whole life. Stories of lack, like the starving artist mentality, which will be an upcoming topic. Other ideas like art is hard, or that it's 1 in a million who gets to make a living from their art or their creativity. I think it's really interesting to notice how sometimes we just have these beliefs or stories that we accept and we don't even stop to think like, okay, is that true? Because I know a ton of people who are not starving artists, but I still have that loop playing in my head at times. Little things like that are actually kind of big things, but I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself because I'm trying to get ahead of myself actually. I'm writing and recording a few episodes a week at this point so that I'm never down to the wire stressing or just throwing an episode together, because I really feel that these topics are what I'm supposed to be doing right now. So I'm putting a lot of time and attention into it while also trying to not really have a rigid plan around it, because that would go against the creative flow of it all. So instead, thinking of it like a well to draw from. But right now, it's time for a little segment I'm calling Weekly Obsession, where I'm sharing anything that's lighting me up right now, because sharing is caring and I care about you. So this week, I'm loving the episode of Las Culturistas podcast with Brandi Carlile called The Washingtonian. It had been a while since I listened to just more of like a culture, entertainment type of podcast, and I'm a huge Brandi Carlile fan, but had kind of like gotten out of the ecosystem, I guess is the best way to say it, and been like as in the fandom as I have been in the past. And I just really, really, really loved that episode. I felt like it was so inspiring. The energy of the host was so great. And from that episode, I actually there was this song called, I think it's called She Used to Be Mine by Sarah Bareilles that they mentioned and was gorgeous. It had me crying in my car at a track meet, no less. And then the other thing from that episode, of course, was listening to Brandi Carlile, but another artist called CMAT, who's I guess I would say Americana / pop artist. Her music is just really cool. It's almost like if Stevie Nicks was alt country. I don't really know if that even makes sense, but they were talking about how great she was, and I was like, let me check this out and just see what I think. And I ended up ordering her vinyl. It's called Euro Country. I really, really love it. I'd love to hear what's lighting you up, so feel free to let me know over on Instagram at Made of Dreams Podcast. And now I'm going to go ahead and get into this week's topic of creative expression and instinct. Last week we spoke about inspiration. And I felt that this would be a good follow-up, because once you're feeling good about knowing how to find inspiration and follow it, how do we then use it to create? Where do we go from there? So let's take a look at what the card said, and then I'll kind of weave it together with my thoughts. So the first card is what I like to call the heart of the matter. And on this week's topic of creative expression and instinct, I pulled the Ace of Cups. For the ache, which you can think of as the shadow or maybe the challenge, a sticking point, I pulled the Two of Pentacles. And for the pulse, which represents the action or the clarity, I pulled the Three of Wands. So the heart of creative expression and instinct as the Ace of Cups. So the Ace of Cups represents a fresh beginning. It represents creativity and the arrival of something that has the potential to deeply nourish you. It is quite literally an invitation to receive. The traditional card has a hand presenting an overflowing cup of water with 5 streams of water. The 5 streams are said to represent the 5 senses. It's abundance, it's intuition, it's personal growth. There's a white dove to symbolize peace or a message of love and spirituality, and there are flowers blooming in the water below the overflowing cup. So the Ace of Cups says, take this inspiration that you're feeling and use it to create. You have more than what you need. The cup is overflowing. It's a yes card, but remember that this is a water element card. So it's creating from flow. It's creating from joy. It's the feeling of possibility rather than a logical, structured, planned out, rigid feeling. So what does expression and instinct mean to you? To me, instinct is like a gut feeling. It's an impulse, it's a ping, and I feel like it's hammering in that message from last week of joy, passion, and spark. Staying in that feeling and not letting ourselves get bogged down by expectations and plans and what ifs, and just it's free form. It's a rough sketch. It's a quick demo. It's taking that joy and passion and dancing with it. I just get this feeling of like reckless abandon that's liberating. It's taking the limits off, forgetting the rules and just going. It's not perfection and it's not a final draft. It makes me think of a person I used to work with who was so musically talented and who was so trained. And we would have these discussions about how they labored over each little guitar line and each lick because it needed to follow, some musical structure or logic. And I just kind of like nodded along at the time as this young girl who had just picked up a guitar like a year ago and learned 7 chords and just started writing songs. I didn't know all of those rules. And for that reason, I was actually unstoppable. I wrote song after song after song. And if I would have known about the 1, 4, 5 of it all, or the chord, names of the strumming patterns, I wouldn't have discovered my own unique way. I didn't let the rules and what I didn't know rein me in. I just needed to express myself. I didn't follow a pattern. I followed my heart and my ear. And if I liked it, then that was it. And those songs were lessons. That's where the work was done for me. And everything was a grand discovery. So what can you create from that energy? Can you not worry about like finding your voice and maybe just lose your voice and then rediscover it? Like, doesn't that sound fun to just break the rules and go play? Forget the rules, just go play. So then the ache, we have the 2 of Pentacles. It's kind of a balancing act. The Pentacles are that earth element and the physical world and what we have and what we do. The 2s are about choices. So this could be juggling priorities or time. It could be figuring out where to focus your attention. This could be feeling like you need to have it figured out or taking things maybe a little too seriously. The 2 of Pentacles features a person who looks like they're kind of dancing with 2 coins or pentacles in each hand, like juggling them within the infinity symbol. Some say that suggests that you have infinite access to what you need, but that it's inviting you to figure out how to go with the flow, which in a creative sense can be a bit of a push-pull. When you're feeling really inspired by all of those possibilities, how do you decide which path to go down? It also has like 2 boats in the far back that are riding some pretty high waves. I've got a few easy questions to maybe help narrow it down. So the first one is there a clear inspiration that lights you up the most? Is there one idea that's taking up the most real estate in your mind? Another way to think of it could be, is there an easier path? Is there one idea that when you brainstorm, it just keeps flowing and flowing? Start there. So recently, my son, who's 13, has really gotten into photography, and he saved up and got a nice pro camera and instantly was like, I don't know how to figure out what kind of photos I want to take. Should I do nature stuff or photos of people and all of these things? And I actually just said, well, what I would do is just start taking pictures. Take pictures of all kinds of things, and maybe a theme will emerge, or you'll realize that you love taking photos of the sky like me. So if that's the struggle, I honestly say pick the path of least resistance and just start. A pattern will emerge, or you will learn what you don't like. In fact, I wrote a new song last week that I really like, and the way it happened was that the chorus came to me first, and then I was playing around with a few lines for the verse, and as I was writing, my inner editor brain stepped in and was immediately like editing what I was working on, to the point that I then decided to write it a different way at the same time. So I had 2 first verses and 2 second verses, and I was like, well, maybe I'll write the full song 2 ways and see which one wins. And then I actually took a little break and I had a conversation about it with a friend of mine. And even just talking about it made me realize that my first instinct was the one to follow. And sometimes I actually do that quite a bit. I write something only to like dismantle the whole thing and write it a different way. And so that's something I'm personally working on, letting that editor take a little break and getting a full song or draft out and then going back to work on it once I actually get the full picture. The pulse, or the clarity, in this spread was the 3 of Wands. This card is exciting. It's adventure, it's the exploration and expansion. The wands represent fire and passion and desire and creativity, and this card has a figure on a cliff looking out over the land to see the horizon. The card is showing wide open opportunity and getting out of your usual environment. It's saying that your best path forward is outside of your comfort zone. The sky is clear and the figure can see for miles, so it's like there are no limits. Big sky, think big, and go forward into adventure. I don't know how much more clear I can make it. If you're listening to this and you have an inkling of a project or a song or a podcast, whatever your art form is, baking, sewing, pottery, you name it, this is your literal permission slip. I'm signing it for you. It's time to try it on for size, okay? Don't fence yourself in. The song that just popped into my head was the one by Casey Musgraves about, you can have your space, cowboy. I ain't gonna fence you in. Probably because I said fence you in, but maybe a better one is like Into the Great Wide Open by Tom Petty, or maybe like Wide Open Spaces by the Chicks. I think I'm going to give you a little homework suggestion if you need a little more encouragement. Listen to that Tom Petty song and feel it. Take it in. Dream. Envision yourself taking the action of whatever it is. Buy the paint, crack open the notebook, get yourself a hype song, and then hype it up and get moving. There are really no rules on your creativity and no limits on your imagination. And the best way to move forward is to just start. I've realized lately that I'm a really good starter. I'm a very multi-passionate creative person. Like, I love it all. And for some reason, I have this idea that I could do it all. Maybe not like well or at master level, but I'm like, oh yeah, I could paint something cool. I can make a video. I can do a podcast. Like, it really is like once you turn on that faucet of creativity that the cups runneth over, like the Ace of Cups. It's just starting and letting yourself be a beginner. I always think of the fact that beginners have so much fun and so many new discoveries because of that unjaded earnestness. And think back to when you were new at something. You get better at it so much quicker than when you're 5 years in. When you're 5 years into playing guitar, for example, it takes more practice to level up than that brand new guitar player. Oftentimes we plateau and we have to keep going when it's not as exciting, you know? I'll end with one of my favorite questions. When was the last time you did something for the first time? I hope this episode has been helpful to you, and I'd love to know what you think. head over to Made of Dreams Podcast on Instagram and follow along and say hello. I love to hear from you. So if you're enjoying this podcast, please consider subscribing and leaving a 5-star review on your platform of choice. If you'd like to learn more about me or the show, head over to madeofdreamspodcast.com and you can sign up for the Dreamer's Digest and receive my creative state checklist to help keep you in the flow. I'm going to leave you with a song of mine. In the meantime, dream on.
Gonna love, gonna leave. Gonna take you back, honey. Take what you please. And I don't ask for nothing from you. Give what you got. I don't care.